From Washington, this is VOA News. Coming up, the latest on the Syrian situation and controversy over a NATO strike in remote eastern Afghanistan. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Norman. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says the United States and its allies are not seeking to take over Syria's civil war by carrying out an anticipated American-led airstrike to stop President Bashar al-Assad's regime from using poison gas again. He said the alleged chemical attack on August 21st that killed more than 1,400 had crossed an international global red line.
The message to Hezbollah, Iran, Assad will be that nobody cares that you broke this nearly 100-year-old standard and you're using weapons that have been banned by 189 nations.
Speaking in Paris on Sunday after meeting Arab League ministers to seek support for airstrikes in Syria, Mr. Kerry said the Obama administration is distributing videos of the attack to help convince Americans in Congress to back a military intervention against the Syrian government. Egyptian military helicopters attacked Islamist militants in northern Sinai Peninsula for the second straight day on Sunday. Army calls it the biggest military operation against terrorists in Sinai in years. At least 9 militants have been killed since Saturday when helicopters opened fire on suspected militant hideouts. Large numbers of weapons have been reported captured. Afghan officials have accused NATO forces of killing civilians in an airstrike that left at least 15 people dead in the country's remote eastern region. The police chief of eastern Kunar province says women and children were among the victims in the strike that occurred late Saturday. NATO officials dispute that statement, saying they have no reports of civilian deaths. They say a precision strike killed 10 militants. And Pakistan says it's freed more than 7 Afghan Taliban prisoners to facilitate peace and reconciliation efforts that leaders in neighboring Afghanistan are making to end the 12-year-old conflict in the country. We get more now from Ayaz Gul.
Mansoor Dadullah is the only known Afghan rebel commander included in the group that Pakistan released on Saturday. The Afghan leadership believes Taliban members detained in Pakistan, if freed, can play a role in persuading militants to end violence and become part of a political reconciliation process. But critics like former Pakistani ambassador to Kabul, Rustam Shah Momin, are skeptical about whether Taliban prisoners Islamabad has released or plans to release can be of any help to the Afghan peace efforts.
Because the moment those people were arrested, the Taliban, they have broken off all relations with those people. Only those Taliban who are free would be credible voices who would speak for the Afghan resistance.
U.S. officials consider the opening of a peace process key to ending violence in the country. Ayaz Gul for VOA News, Islamabad.
Cambodia's opposition says it will boycott the opening session of Parliament and continue mounting protests now that the National Election Committee has officially ratified the election victory of Prime Minister Hun Sen. Opposition leader Sam Rainsy said Sunday the Cambodian National Rescue Party is not interested in talks with Hun Sen's ruling Cambodian People's Party until there is an independent investigation of alleged election irregularities. Australia's incoming Prime Minister says he's ready to get down to work immediately. Tony Abbott's opposition Liberal National Coalition won a crushing victory on Saturday against the Labour Party, which had been in power for 6 years. He spoke to reporters as he went back to work.
This is essentially a working day. I'll be in the office now for the rest of the day, getting briefings from senior public servants, and people expect that the day after an election, an incoming government will be getting down to business, and that's what I'll be doing today. I'll be working on building a better future for a great country, building a stronger Australia, a better Australia in the months and years ahead.
Outgoing Prime Minister Kevin Rudd announced he would step down as Labour leader. Voters in Russia's capital went to the polls Sunday to choose a mayor. Kremlin-backed incumbent Sergei Sobyanin is widely expected to win the election to decide who will lead the city of Moscow. He is Russian President Vladimir Putin's former chief of staff. Mr. Sobyanin was appointed mayor 3 years ago. However, anti-corruption blogger Alexei Navalny has made the race what has been described as the first genuinely competitive Russian election since the early post-Soviet years. Got more news at voanews.com.